In this video, I'm going to replace the driver's door window regulator in this Mazda MX-5 NA. Oh God, this poor car is in dire need of a wash. I think I'll also give it a belt of a sponge when we're finished the job. First thing we need to do is get the door card off the inside of the door, so let's do that. First thing we're going to do is take the little screw out from the middle of the door handle. I suggest you have a little tray or something like that just to put all your nuts and bolts in and everything like that in. Just the door handle and then that pops off. Now we can take off the little plastic cover that goes here, and there's a screw here, and then there are two more down underneath the handle, and we're going to take them off as well. So there's 3 Phillips screws. Now we need to take our speaker grill off. Now, I don't actually have one of those trim removal tools, but to be honest with you, I know full well that this comes off quite easily, and we may stick that back on while we're at it as well. And same situation with the door card. We'll just work our way around, pop the clips off, and then just unhooks from the top of the door. Now, ordinarily, you'll have a membrane on the inside of the door, which is to keep the moisture out. This car does not have it, so we don't need to remove it, but if we did have that, we'd have to remove it. Next thing we're going to need to remove is this weather strip on the outside of the window, but first thing we need to do is remove this rubber piece here. It's just held in place by a couple of plastic clips, which just need to be popped out, like so, and that allows us to pull that down. So now we can remove this. So what we need to do is lift it up slightly. And you will see in here where the white clips are, we need to push in the tab on the clip to undo it and allow us to lift that weather seal off without breaking it. And you can do that with a little scraper or some sort of flat bladed implement that is not going to scratch the door. You can just see in there the little tab in the middle is the thing you're trying to push in. So I was able to get it with the corner of a scraper like that and just push that in, and that allows me to do that, and I'm going to do that the rest of the way along the door. Here are those clips in closer detail, and if you are careful you can remove them without breaking them, and there's also a little button thing that needs to be undone at the end of it. So they're all off, as you can see. So now we have better access to the window mechanism. Next thing we need to do is we need to remove the window stop here, which is removed using this 10mm bolt, but we're going to mark it first of all because that is adjustable and we don't want to lose our position on it. Okay, so now we can remove our window end stop. There we go, and that's that. So we'll just put our bolt back into the hole there for safekeeping. Now, next thing we need to do is we need to disconnect the window from the regulator. Now, if you can move the window, it's an awful lot easier if you can drop it down so that it's accessible through this hole. But if the motor is completely pooched like it is in this car, you may end up stuck and have to try and do it through the hole here. Not the end of the world, just means it's a little bit more spannering involved. And I'll show you now what you have to do. You have 3 bolts to remove here, the one down below it, and the one over this side, and that will allow you to disconnect the window from the regulator. Now, I would strongly suggest that you hold the window when you do this. There's actually also an end stop here as well, which also needs to be removed, I just noticed. So let's do that as well. Right, I've just reconnected the motor because it is intermittent actually in this car at times. So let's see if we can get a bit of movement out of it. Happy days. That definitely makes things a bit easier. Alright, so now we have an access hole here, here and here. As I said, if you can't get those bolts that way, you just end up having to do it, you just have to reach through, down through here. Before you undo the top one, or the third one, just grab a hold of the glass. Because if it drops down into the door, you're going to have a bad time. Now, that allows us to lift the glass out and put it safely away somewhere. Now I'm going to get this far away from here. Now that all the glassy breaky bits are all out of the way, we can start disconnecting things and removing things. And yeah, so basically first thing we're going to do is there's a track that goes from here down to the bottom down here, which is where the cables run around and are covered in grease. So let's get them off. Now the weird thing about this regulator is, and I wouldn't be all that surprised given my knowledge of this car, I would not be surprised at all if this is not actually from a Mazda MX-5 and is probably from some completely different car, because this does not look right for this car. So there's one. So that's our 10mm at the top, and it's probably supposed to be a 14mm, but it's not. And we need to get a 14mm socket for the bottom. And there's a nut on the bottom that needs to be removed. So that's now off. And there is a 10mm nut holding the motor on here. Incidentally, the process is basically the same if you're putting if you're removing a manual window regulator. It's just you have to remove the the window crank as well. There's another nut there, of course. Take that off too. The reason I say about the fact that the window regulator is probably not off an MX-5 is because the window wiper motor in this car was actually out of a Suzuki Grand Vitara and didn't work at all. Well, it did work, it just didn't have intermittent or park or anything like that. Why, you ask? I do not know. Now we need to undo the 10mm up here as well, and there is a 10mm down the bottom, so we have to remove those two as well. And there we have it. There is the old regulator out. Turns out only the bottom nut needed to be removed. This top one actually didn't need to be removed, so I've actually put it back in again just to make sure the quarter light stays safe and everything there as well. There are also two 14mm nuts on this track here as well. I think that's actually a bolt on the bottom. So take the nut off here, the bolt off the bottom, and we'll be able to get this track out. Just mark them before you take them out because they're adjustable. So while we have this piece of track out, we'll give it a good clean and lubrication so there's nice fresh grease on it. And it means that the new window regulator is going to work as it should. Okay, it is a nut on the bottom actually. Alright, and that allows us to take this out. So this will get it clean. While we're here, we may as well. Okay, so now that's all that done. So next thing to do is to start installing our new regulator. As I expected, the new regulator, which is the one on the top here, is different to the old regulator, which is the one down here. So that is upside down in actual fact, so it should be like that. Still in all, you can see the motor points a different direction for a start, and the bolt holes are not exactly in the same place. However, I believe the one on the top is actually the right one for the car and the one at the bottom is not. So let's just run the part numbers first of all before we go try and install it, and I'll come back to you once I know. Yep, the new one is right, so go figure. It also comes with this wire here as well, which allows us to adapt into the wiring harness of the car. So I'm going to plug that in now. There's a funny feeling that'll be a bugger to get at a later stage. Right, so that's that. Now it comes with all the 10mm nuts already installed onto their respective studs and everything like that. So what we're going to do is take them off now. So there's two on the motor here and here, two on the bottom of the track, one on the top of the track. So let's get them off. Okay, so let's get this gubbins inside the door. So I'm gonna sort of feed this in like this, and then we can stand this piece up, sort of. Come on, up we go. And get the motor in there as well. our piece is in there. So now we need to get the motor along here somehow. It's really a case of, it seems we have to just kind of try and squeeze the motor in behind that forward runner. Come on. That seems to be the way it goes there. So completely different holes. Alright, so let's just get them on loosely. So they're not going to go anywhere now. So now we've also got our mounting hole at the top here, which is where there's a bolt where the large washer is going to go. And again, we're going to leave that loose. And excellent. Our two bolts, our two studs from the bottom runner are sticking out through two holes in the bottom. So we're going to get our nuts on that. And now, for the time being, I'm going to tighten everything up. We can loosen it again if we need to. But alright. So now, that's our window regulator in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect up the wiring. Make sure the bloody thing actually works. So, there's this connector in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a couple of spades on this wiring harness, and at least we can just plug it in, because I have a funny feeling whatever way I connect it, it'll be the wrong way around the first time, and then we can connect it the right way next time. If you do a lot of wiring on cars, or even a little bit, go on to Temu and get yourself one of these little crimping kits. They're not expensive, especially not on Temu, whatever the hell you want to call it. Does a really nice job. You see the way there was a bolt going through holding the old motor on there, and that is actually where this connector is supposed to go, so far as I can tell. So let's just plug them in there for the moment. Now, okay, and motor up. Happy days. Now we get it into position for our window to go in, but I want to clean up that track and grease it and everything first of all. But that's great. What we're going to do is just tape that all up now as well, and get that protected. Oh, and don't forget to put the 10mm bolt in the bottom of this track over here as well. So we're going to do that now while I think of it, so nothing gets forgotten. There we go. And here we have the track back in here. I'm just going to tighten this up, and then we can start getting our glass back in. You know, I don't understand the previous whoever worked on this car before making stuff fit, you know, that's not right for the car, because yeah, okay, fair enough, you're maybe going to save on the cost of parts or whatever, but you're paying for the labour then. Like, surely to God the customer isn't going to want that. Anyway, right, let's there is our window lift doofer there, the plate that the glass goes onto. Oddly enough, this one doesn't have the little shelf that the window actually sits on. But let's get the glass anyway, and we'll offer it up and start getting that bolted in. And here is the glass ready to go back in. You'll see the little this piece here has a kind of a hook on the top of it, and I've actually lubricated the little nylon wheel that goes onto that as well. So let's get that down in there. So now this is where we're going to need to loosen off our bolt at the top here, just to get the holes lined up. Well, actually it would help if I got the window into the slider on the other side. Now there's one just in loosely. I'm going to loosen this off here now. I think it's just going to take a little bit of jiggling to get this into the correct position. Make sure that is centered. Okay, there's another bolt loosely started. And there should be one more, which is this. These are the coarse thread ones that go on this, by the way, so just be aware of that. Okay, given the fact that the holes on this plate in the other regulator were larger, I've actually just drilled them out to the next size up, because you cannot get the bloody adjustment right, and I'm just afraid of breaking the glass, and that would upset me greatly. So now, like, it takes nothing away by doing that, you know, that kind of way. So why not? Okay, at least like that now the window's not going to go anywhere, so all right. So if I hold that there like that and just tighten this up now, that should allow me to get the bolt in, one would hope. And it does. All right, that's that one in. That one in, and they really don't forget, they're only going into little plastic anchors. So there goes my socket. Right, now let's see how we are looking. Now let's get our end stops on. Those of you playing along at home will remember that I marked out where the end stops go with a marker. Our other one over here. All right, now, see, I think they actually need to go higher now. Let's loosen them off and tighten the mechanism. So now I want this to go up to the top of the window. All right. Yeah, they definitely need to go higher. Just maybe a little bit down. Right, now let's just close the door and see how it's looking against the seal. All right, pretty good. So let's tighten the end stops up. Okay. Just going to put the tiniest bit of lubrication in the forward rubber, because I'd say it's probably quite dry and it's binding on that. So now let's see. Much better. So now what we need to do is we need to put the weather strip on the outside. Give the glass a clean again. I gave it a little wipe while it was off the car, but obviously my greasy maulers were going to get all over it. And clean that all up, get the door card back on, and then the job is a good one. It's great because we can use the bird shit to line up the weather strip. Get that in. And do up our little buttons on this end. Okay, so there we go. I have stuck on the little cardboard ring that goes around the speaker. The speaker's bunched. The stereo doesn't even work in this car anyway, so it doesn't really matter to a great degree. But either way, the cardboard ring should be in place. So that's done, and we are going to pop that back on and button it all back up. I think next time I'm in the Motor Factors, I think I might actually pick up one of those trim removal tools. I really should have one, to be honest with you. Right, that's that, and pop our door handle back on. The door cards in this car are so easy to remove. Just as well, because I don't know how many times I've been into this bloody thing. I tried fixing the window regulator before replacing it. It's just, I greased it all up and everything like that. It was having none of it. So the only job for it was a €150 replacement part. Not the cheapest thing in the world, but it means the job is now right. And that will keep working for many years to come. This car has got more mileage on it than the Hubble Space Telescope in actual fact. It's 200 and, what is it? Tell you now. 256,000 kilometres on it, and it's still going strong. She's an automatic 1.6 Eunos Roadster, so it's actually a Jap import. Most of the automatics you'll come across here would have been Jap imports. They seem to like their automatics in Japan. Okay, to be honest with you, the Japanese automatic MX-5s are not a bad joke to drive at all either. Actually, yeah, some people will say, oh, you know, you want to be stirring the cogs yourself and all that, and yeah, I do get that. But sometimes as well with an automatic, it means that you can kind of concentrate more on the steering and all that as well, and you don't have to worry about swapping cogs. And if you want to change gears, you want to turn off the overdrive or whatever, or stick it into second, you can still do that. Yeah, there's the losses of the torque converter and all that as well, but there is a torque converter lockup on these, and they're a 4-speed gearbox, so they're not bad. They're actually a nice little yoke to drive. If it were a choice, if I had a personal choice between whether I'd have a manual or automatic, of course I would choose manual. But if you were buying an MX-5 and and it was an automatic, don't let that dissuade you. It's actually still a very nice little car to drive. And that is the job done. So happy days. That's finished, working beautifully. So next thing I am going to do is I'm going to get the car outside. I'm going to give it a belt of a sponge and get it back to the customer. So thanks very much for watching, folks. Please do comment below if you had any observations or if you have any questions or anything like that. I'll do my best to answer them. And have a great day. And please hit the subscribe button before you go. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you in a future video. Thanks for watching. Quick belt of a sponge and it looks a whole lot better.